All right, everybody, what's up? We're back with another episode of the Talking NASCAR podcast. As I forgot to get out my notes. This is a little more unconventional setup, thanks to my PC going to complete shit. Um, as of a couple of days ago. Don't worry, I've got tech support coming out in the morning, and tech support is my friends. Darkroom 7's coming out.
Mm.
But we gotta get the podcast done. The show must go on. So we're on my laptop in a little bit of a different spot. But I still got the mic, so it's not too much of a different setup. But
I don't.
Gary's back too. Also, he just went and watched the K Wings lose in 6-2.
Shut up. Shut up. Hey, I got something free, so I'll take it.
Oh, a rally towel. That's nice. I like rally towels.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't seem to work very well, but I mean,
Hey, what can you do? So,
to
but anyways,
not lose 6-2.
we're on episode number 75 of the Talking NASCAR podcast. So that's pretty cool. We got a lot to talk about today. Talladega is in the books. We're going to talk all about that and everything exciting that happened there in the Xfinity and the Cup Series. We got some news to talk about as well, including the 2025 NASCAR Hall of Fame nominee class was just recently announced. That'll be a highlight thing we're going to talk about. And then at the end, we will preview Dover. So, should be a lot of fun there. But we got to get through Talladega first. And it was a pretty crazy weekend down in Talladega, as it usually is. In the Xfinity Series, I watched most of the Xfinity race, not all of it, but most of it. I did miss Justin Allgaier's crash. It was a hard crash, but I did miss that one, which that was a hard hit for him. They didn't make it seem like it was that big a deal until I saw the replay, and it was just like, wow, this is a crazy, crazy crash. The big one struck, taking out Sam Mayer, Brandon Jones, and a few others midway through the race. Ryan Sieg got screwed over late as he was going for the win. He got a flat tire, caused him to pit and lose a lap. He would end up getting it back, but he didn't have enough time to go for the win, which sucks. Another tough break for a guy who can't catch a good one at this point. Late in the race, there was also an incredibly good save by Anthony Alfredo in the trial as he was going for the lead. He was almost dead sideways and saved it and kept going like it was nothing. That was pretty insane to watch. And then with a couple laps to go, Austin Hill trying to go for the lead, or trying to protect the lead, in fact, got loose, and the big one struck a second time to set up overtime. And then a lot of cars were low on fuel as well. So that caused a lot of drivers on the ensuing restart to run out of gas because, what's a fun restart without running out of gas in a super speedway race, which is now, is if I've had a nickel for every time Xfinity drivers have spontaneously ran out of gas late in a super speedway race in 2024, I'd have two nickels, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. But this one, fuel issues caused another big wreck on the first attempt at the restart, and then on the second attempt, it was Jesse Love that got to hold off the field and score his first career Xfinity Series win in double overtime. Very, very cool that he was able to do that. So congratulations to Anthony Alfredo and the team there. So that was cool. And then the Cup race. Now there was big dramas before the Cup race because Kyle Larson had a penalty where because of I think it was a roof thing going on, but it was a pretty severe penalty. He had his car chief got ejected. He wasn't able to qualify, and he had to do a pass through penalty on the first lap of the race. Pretty much setting him back a lap before the race even started, pretty much for him. That's pretty severe. I don't know exactly the full extent of the penalty, but that's a pretty severe punishment for for a race like this. I mean, that's pretty insane. Um, and then it rained. It had rained both the night prior to the Cup race and then the morning of. It didn't affect the start of the race at all, but cars were noticing that water was seeping up around pit road, and that affected pit stops for Denny Hamlin early in the race, as well as Corey LaJoie midway through the race. Hamlin spun getting onto pit road, got going like it was nothing, but then Corey LaJoie spun leaving pit road, and a lot of people thought that was going to be a caution, and it wasn't. What was that called, NASCAR? I don't know what that was all about, but Chase Briscoe also had a lot of errors in the pits, both in his end and his crew's end, that really just put a wrench in the day. That he was having a pretty solid start too, but the pit road problems were just too much to overcome. And for most of the race, it was actually clean yet exciting driving. There was a lot of competitiveness, back and forth action, but it was mostly just. But there wasn't a lot of true aggressiveness because drivers were just too worried about. We're just too worried about running out of fuel. And I gotta say, that's a dumb way to super speedway race. Just drive around not wanting to win because you don't want to run out of gas. That is just stupid, and that's all
Right.
part of the stages. It's the stages have made that the way to do it, and it's just completely dumb. You get all this exciting racing, and nothing comes of it because drivers are too scared to do any make any moves, and it's just completely stupid.
Yeah, it is.
But that resulted in some pretty clean racing. Um, but with about 50 so laps to go, we finally got some big action when Christopher Bell was taken out for the second week in a row due to a wreck. Tough break for him. Um, and then later on in the race, they were making their final round of pit stops, and this part got a giant laugh out of me. So some of the Toyotas decide to make a pit stop. One of them being Bubba Wallace. They successfully do their pit stops, no problems whatsoever. They get back out on the track. They have the rest of the field a good distance. They look like they've gotten the strategy to win the race. But good old Bubba Wallace likes to chime in and say, yeah, we're going to try and make a pass when we're not even close to the lead. Causes a big wreck. Took out himself. Eric Jones, hard hit for Eric Jones, head on into the wall. It was really, really hard to watch. Denny Hamlin was also taken out in that wreck. And that had pretty much eliminated any potential fuel strategy. But it gave Tyler Reddick, the one of the two Toyotas to avoid that crash, some really good track position because he got to stay out. That's important for a little bit later on. They came down to the finish, and I really didn't think the big one was going to strike. Well, it technically had a couple. It technically had once already because there was a 6-car wreck that the one Christopher Bell was involved in. But I didn't think it was going to really happen. And we got down to the tri-oval, and Michael McDowell has the lead. He looks like he's going to come home with the win. And then he makes some incredibly dumb but aggressive blocking maneuvers on the rest of the field, and it does not work. As Brad Keselowski gets into the back of him, or actually more so McDowell got loose, and sends himself sliding into the pack and causing a huge, huge crash that saw Josh Berry almost flip and Corey LaJoie actually flipping. So we had pretty much a double flip, which I don't think it really has ever happened in a modern NASCAR race. 2 cars flipping in the same crash. So that was pretty incredible to watch. And then while that was going on, Tyler Reddick makes the late pass and gets the win on Brad Keselowski as they came to the checkered flag. So, that was pain. You know why it was pain? Because I had Brad Keselowski in fantasy this week.
You know what sucks? I don't know if you were just about to talk about this, but Eric Jones will not be at Dover because of one of those wrecks.
Yeah, he fractured his vertebrae, cracked his
Yeah,
vertebrae, so he's going to miss Dover. Corey Heim is going to fill in for that race, so it's going to be kind of cool to see what Corey Heim can do in Cup equipment. Subpar Cup equipment, I should say,
yeah,
but not the worst equipment out there. But yeah, I was going to mention that too. He got taken out in that, which definitely sucks. But hope he makes a good recovery. But Reddick wins. It was his first win of the season, but he was already locked into the New Year's Eve Spectacular, and I don't remember if he had won a race before this or not. Won one of the races before this or not. But he was already in, so it didn't really affect the standings all too much. But congratulations to Reddick. He definitely earned it. It was still a pretty good win. Really beautiful paint scheme. Got to go to Victory Lane too, and it was cool seeing Michael Jordan's interview in Victory Lane as well. So I enjoyed watching that. So I'm not the worst winner in the book, and still got second in my fantasy this week, which is never a terrible thing. So definitely take that for the season that we've been having. But that's really all I had to say on Talladega. I mean, overall, I thought the racing was pretty exciting, but left a lot to be desired because of the fuel stuff. And, you know, the reason why I don't like rewatching old races from like Chicagoland back in the 2000s or Kansas, hell, even Michigan, is because those were fuel mileage tracks. And that just doesn't make things exciting when 90% of the field's a lap down because they have to make late race pit stops and it's coming down to fuel strategy. And I just don't like that. Talladega wasn't as crazy as that because it's a restricted play track, but still. And then the broadcast. This is more directed towards the Cup race. The Xfinity broadcast was fine. It didn't really have many problems with it, but the Cup broadcast was terrible. 5 laps to go in the second stage. We're 3 by 3 by 3, all the way deep in the pack. And you think that's a great time to go to a commercial? Seriously? Seriously. No. And they went to a full commercial break, too. Not just a side by side. They went to full ad break. What are you thinking? That doesn't make any sense.
doesn't.
So, the fuel mileage and the broadcast were my two biggest gripes from this race. We got the big wreck. We got a crazy finish. We got some good racing. What else can you really expect from Talladega? So, I don't know, Hitmaster, if you've got any other
I
inputs.
was I was going to say about the Xfinity race. Haley Deegan did her personal best in an Xfinity car of a starter Xfinity, finishing 12th. She was at one point in fourth. So I watched her episode on YouTube of what her plan was, and she said just to stay in the back and just try to get out of the wrecks and see if you're up there at the final lap.
And that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Drivers hanging out in the back and making their run with like 20 to go or something like that just to get up to the front, cause some chaos. But that didn't really happen this year, which really sucked because it was about the fuel. It was about the riding with your manufacturers. It was about your teammates. Nobody really decided to make a move. It wasn't until Michael McDowell decided, yeah, I'm going to swerve across the entire racetrack, that something actually happened. And even then, one of the front runners got the win anyways. So, what was it all worth in the very end?
Right, right.
Oh well. That was
But
Talladega. Let's put it in the books. I got a few other things to talk about. First off, some fun stuff that I found earlier in my closet today. Actually, our family closet where we keep our jackets. We were cleaning that out for our garage sale. I found a couple of NASCAR hats from when I was younger. I thought I'd show them off because I didn't know I had them, but they're
Mhm.
mine now. So the first one that I'm going to show off, and there's two of them. Neither of these fit me anymore, so they're more just collector's items at this point. But this is the first one, the Tony Stewart hat. It's got the Home Depot stuff, colors on the back. So maybe it's Tony Stewart. Maybe it's Joey Logano. No, it says Tony Stewart. So
Ah,
that's pretty cool. I assume it's from 2007, 2008. Somewhere around there. But, do like it. And, folks, it's 100% cotton. Cool. Cool stuff. But that was the first one. The second one's a little crazier. Boom. Casey Mears hat.
oh,
Definitely from 2007.
I was gonna say Brian Vickers.
Cool part about this is actually on the back, it's got all the other Hendrick numbers.
Ooh,
So I wonder if this was a part of a collection where you could get the individual, like, more personalized for each Hendrick driver, and then it had the other numbers on the back.
I would believe so.
So that's pretty cool. I'll put those in my collection of hats that I've got. But I wanted to show those off real quick. Now we can get down to the nitty gritty with the news. Sponsorship update: Liquid Death. If you guys know about Liquid Death, they are the new iced tea sponsor of NASCAR. Huh?
Iced tea.
I didn't know they made iced tea, but apparently they do. So, pretty cool stuff there.
I thought they just made water.
That's what I thought too, but apparently not. So, we already talked about the Eric Jones thing. Also, All Star Race format was revealed this week. And nothing really crazy there, except for the fact that they are doing a tire experiment. According,
Oh,
this is from Bob Pockrass on Twitter. He says that 2 sets of prime slick tire from tire test and 2 sets option tire that are slicks but made with tread not grooved from rain tires. Teams must start on option for 200 lap race. Caution lap 100 must make 4 tire pit stop. Caution at lap 150 pit stop optional. Why? What are you trying to accomplish with this format? This doesn't make any sense. Can we not just let the drivers go out and duke it out for money for 200 laps around North Wilkesboro? I mean, what the actual fuck? This doesn't make
right.
any sense. I, I don't even. I need. What are your thoughts? Because I have no clue where they're even trying to start with this.
I feel like they're gonna do another Bristol. To be honest, in my opinion, I have a feeling it's gonna turn into a Bristol.
In
It's
in
just
what way?
not only like the tire wear, but like a lot of people are gonna use up their tires, and then it'll just be like a race where you have to get extras in a
Yeah,
way.
I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. I really don't even know what they're trying to go for. I don't know. The All Star race used to be good. Around like 2018, even like 2017, maybe even earlier than that, I'd say it started to go downhill. And then they took it away from Charlotte, which kind of killed it in my opinion. But also, I mean, moving it to North Wilkesboro was cool last year. Um, so we won't speak about the track that came in between those two for the All Star race. So
Oh, I will. Texas.
you're right, correct. So
This time I didn't unplug my. Earbuds.
So anyway, I don't know what are your guys' thoughts. Put that in the comments down below. About the thoughts about the All Star race, because we think it's stupid. All right. Anyway,
Dumb.
the only piece of news I had this week was a pretty big one. The 2025 Hall of Fame nominees have been announced. Now we're gonna pull these up. We're gonna go through them, and I don't know how many drivers get in. Do you know how many get in out of each class? Is it like 4 or 5?
I think so. Yeah.
I can probably look on the JSC website here.
Hey Brian, can you just hand me?
Let's see here. Okay, so the drivers, the people, I guess, on the modern era ballot. This is the main ballot. First up, Greg Biffle. Pretty deserving, in my opinion, to have Greg Biffle on this list. He was a very solid driver during his time in NASCAR. Won a lot of races. He won a truck and an Xfinity Series championship. So, and he ran a long time and well known. So I definitely think he's worthy on this list. Neil Bonnet should be a lock for the Hall of Fame. This dude was an icon. Even if he didn't win that much, he still is a very iconic driver. Did not deserve the way he went out at all. Tim Brewer, he's a crew chief. Also did the ESPN broadcast for a while when they made their return in NASCAR. I don't know if he's deserving or not. He's more of that borderline guy, in my opinion. But I definitely think he should get some heavy considerations, and I'm glad he's at least on the ballot. So, Jeff Burton. I don't know if this guy should really be a lock. I think he will be, but I don't really think he should be. If you get my drift. So, I don't know about that. But I think he'll get in. Randy Dorton was one of the engineers. Again, I can't really say much about this guy. I didn't know much about him. Carl Edwards probably should be a lock. He was a very dominant driver, especially in the Xfinity Series for many years. So I definitely think he'll get in. Harry Gant, I think he was on the ballot last year. I don't remember. But Mr. September, I hope he does get in. So that would be good. Harry Hyde was the 1970 championship crew chief. I don't know if he really will get in or not. He's another one of those borderline guys, in my opinion. Ricky Rudd, I think, should be a lock for the Hall of Fame. I'm surprised he's not in it already. So I think that. Jack Sprague is the last on the modern era ballot. And I gotta say, he won 3 truck championships, and he was pretty good in the Xfinity Series, I think, too, for a while. But his Cup career, I think, taints any possibility of me wanting him in the Hall of Fame. Just saying. He was bad. So, but that's the modern era ballot. And then we have the Pioneer ballot. There's a few entries on here. First is Ray Hendrick. Then Banjo Matthews. Another engine builder. Ralph Moody. Larry Phillips. And Bob Wellborn. So, I don't know who out of those should get in. Maybe all of them will get in, because there's only 5 of them. But they all seem pretty deserving to me. So, and then we have the Landmark Award. Alvin Hawkins. He was NASCAR's first ever flagman and established NASCAR racing at Bowman Gray Stadium with Bill France Sr. That's pretty cool. And then there's Lessa France Kennedy, NASCAR executive vice chair and one of the most influential women in sports. That's pretty cool. Dr. Joseph Matoli, the founder of Pocono Raceway. So that's pretty damn cool. Dr. Dean Sickling. Now this guy, out of anybody on this list, anybody, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Here's why. He invented the safer barrier. That is definitely deserving of a spot in the Hall of Fame, no doubt.
Ever since Dale Earnhardt's death, it just, neck guards, you have to wear those. Full-fledged helmets, you have to wear those. Safer barriers were a part of it. It was just he was one of the people that saved other drivers' lives.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And then lastly on the landmark list is Les Richter, longtime NASCAR executive, oversaw competition, helped grow the sport on the West Coast. So that's everybody on the ballot this year. Get your votes in, who you want to be in. Personally, my locks for the Hall of Fame, I'm really only going to go off the modern era ballot because I think the other two are automatic locks, but I don't know. I want Greg Biffle, Neil Bonnet, Jeff Burton, Carl Edwards, Harry Gant, and Ricky Rudd. That's who I would say should be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe not what everybody else would agree with, but that's my take. So, but that's all I had for news. Hitmaster, I don't know if you have any inputs on anything.
I mean, there wasn't anything about Corgan Oil or anything. I looked up to see if there was anything. But I just couldn't find it.
Oh well.
That and also I haven't been really focused on finding news recently.
Well, that's perfectly okay. So.
Is it?
All right. Anyway, we gotta do race predictions then, and then I gotta hope to pray that this recording saved. So. But NASCAR's in Dover this weekend. Cup is there, and I think Xfinity is there too. I think trucks are off. Yep, they are off. So it's just Xfinity and Cup again this weekend. An early Dover race for sure. Not usually this early. They're usually later in May, even sometimes in June. So maybe the cooler conditions will maybe place a factor on the racing surface. Will be interesting to see. But the 1 mile concrete monster mile Dover. Who do we think is going to win the Xfinity race?
Let me take a look. Because I don't have it up for some reason. Let's see here. Dover entry list. Also, just a heads up, everyone, I do not have my poker sticks or poker chips.
Just to folks, people play poker with sticks.
I mean,
wouldn't that be something to see?
Who doesn't? Anyways, let's see. Is this? I don't think this is a. No, it is right. Okay, well, I'm stupid. All right, so I will choose. Screw it. I'm gonna choose Sammy Smith.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I gonna pick? Probably should have been thinking about that. Let's see. I'm gonna go Riley Herbst.
All right.
And then the Cup race. No poker chips, meaning we get to make our own legitimate picks.
Yes.
So nobody can pick Harrison Burton unless you want to pick Harrison Burton. He did get a top 10 last week, for what it's worth. I mean,
No.
what was the top 10? Reddick, Keselowski, Noah Gragson, Recky Spinhouse, Bowman, Anthony Alfredo, Byron, Todd Gilliland, Daniel Hemrick, and Harrison Burton. Oh, what a top 10 that was.
No.
Also, I have to give a shout out to Shane Van Gisbergen as well, okay? Dude led laps in his first ever oval race in Cup.
But he finished 28th.
Well, he got caught up in the wreck, that's why, but...
That doesn't mean shit.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Hush. Who do you think's
No. Do I want to be that person and go for Chase Elliott?
Go ahead.
Nah. I'll go. You know what? Screw it. He keeps getting super close. This time he's going to get it. Brad Keselowski will win this race.
That'll be good. I'm rooting for him. I really am. Anyways, I'm picking Chase Elliott.
God damn it.
Look, he's got to win at Dover in his career.
Right,
He
but
won at Texas. He had a solid run at Talladega. Things are starting to come along for him. I think he's going to win again, okay? One can hope, you know? One can hope.
I mean, I'm not doubting him, but it's just that, you know, maybe the 42 race losing streak really meant something.
It always means something. Except
It means that
in Delaware. Can I just tell you how shitty of a state Delaware is? And Connecticut. Nah, that's for a different video. Anyway, that's all we had to say on this week's episode of the Talking NASCAR podcast. Trust me, I'm going to work my damnedest to make sure that I am back at that PC for next week's episode.
Let's hope this, recorded.
I'm pretty sure it did.
Pretty sure isn't, Sure.
Anyway, if you want to be a guest, though, on any future episode of the Talking NASCAR podcast, all you got to do is join the Parental Son Company Discord. Link is in the description down below. Request the Talking NASCAR role. Me and Hitmaster will work out a time to get you on to do some recording. So, should be a lot of fun there. But until the meantime, stay tuned for other much more amazing content from both me and Hitmaster. Go check him out. Go check me out. And until next time, we'll see you guys next week. Or a different time. Goodbye.
Did it not record?